On a cloudy Tuesday evening in lower downtown Denver, the Rockies open up a three-game set against their rivals from down in Arizona, the Diamondbacks. D-backs come in 20-19. They're in the midst of a 9-game road trip. The Rockies 6 south of 500 at 16-22. And as always, good evening and glad you're along. I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies try to get good things going against Arizona tonight. They had a good series here opening up the season against Arizona. They took 2 of 3. So far this year, they're 3-3 against the Diamondbacks. Pitching has been the topic throughout most of this year and the ineffectiveness of the bullpen. And the Rockies hope to address that issue with a couple of guys that people in the NL West know fairly well over the last year. Ramon Ramirez returns to the team from the disabled list, and they picked up Jorge Julio, Jeff Houston.
Well, and it really reworks the whole bullpen, if you will. You had some guys in the slots that they weren't quite ready for, and all of a sudden now you move them back into their roles, and they're much more comfortable there. Taking Zach McClellan out of the 7th and 8th role, moving him into the long spot, and then Jorge Julio, who has closed before, once had 36 saves, is up there with Ramon Ramirez. He'll be the first guy after the starter. And Jeremy Affeldt will be your situational left-hander. And then at the bottom it stays the same in Manny Corpus and Brian Fuentes. So everybody's kind of back into that slot that you know the pitchers like to say they like to be in. It makes Clint Hurdle's job a lot easier too, knowing, hey, when I pick up that phone, this is the guy I'm going to.
Well, you look back over the last 9 years in the National League, the Cy Young Award, Randy Johnson's captured 5 of them, and 1 went to Brandon Webb last year. Guess who's pitching tonight? RJ. Guess who's pitching tomorrow? Brandon Webb. You get the picture. It's going to be tough for the Rockies. They face the big unit who has struggled a little bit since coming back from back surgery.
Well, he has, but let's not forget last year he won 17 ball games for the New York Yankees. This is kind of a spring training, if you will, for RJ, but not too bad numbers in his last outing. 9 punch-outs, including the first 6 of the ball game. So if you're thinking Randy Johnson might be over the hill at 43, folks, he can still pitch. Maybe not quite as good as he was 6 or 7 years ago, but this is a guy still that can get it up there 95, 96, 97 miles an hour and still has a pretty dominant slider. So, you know, 43, not too bad.
No, think again if you think he's washed up. And really, this is just late in the spring for Randy Johnson because he didn't pitch much at all in February and most of March because of the back surgery. They're getting the field ready. No rainfall downtown today. Obviously a fair amount yesterday, quite a bit. Bob Melvin and the Diamondbacks just finished a 3-game set in Houston. They were off yesterday. They lost 2 out of 3 down in Houston against Phil Garner's club. Starting lineup tonight, the batting order, Chris Young, and he's having a very nice freshman season in the big leagues. Then Connor Jackson, who's been struggling at the plate. Orlando Hudson in the 3-hole. He's been the steadiest hitter for Arizona throughout the year. Chad Tracy will bat cleanup. Then Eric Burns, 10 for 30 during his 8-game hitting streak. Steven Drew's been struggling with the bat. Carlos Quentin as well, problems with the bat. He's below 200. Chris Snyder is behind the plate. And the big unit on the mound to face Jason Hirsch. And the key for Hirsch, I'm going to jump the gun on you. He's got to throw strikes with the fastball.
Got to eliminate the walks. I mean, that's part of his problem, is he just hasn't established that fastball command that he had in April.
His first 4 starts, he walked only 7 batters. He's walked 15 in his last 3 outings.
And that's any pitcher is going to get into trouble when they do that, and especially Jason Hirsch, a rookie guy. So far, the first 2 pitches right in the zone, 89, 90 miles an hour. And 11 walks in his first 31 innings in April. Not quite so good this month of May.
Here's the 0-2 to Chris Young. And he hits it in the air to left center field. It's going to hang in the air for Willie Taveras.
Let's take a look at Jason Hirsch's numbers, brought to you by the Giant Fordland. His 8th start of the year and this first time ever facing Arizona in his big league career. Pitched a season low 4 innings in his last outing against St. Louis. He needs to rebound from that. One way to do it, we mentioned it, cut down on the number of walks, 15 in the last 3 games. And get early outs. In the last 10 innings for Jason, he's thrown over 210 pitches.
You know, having said all that, the league is still only hitting 230 against Hirsch. So when he's in the zone, he's tough to hit. And he's been very good at Coors Field. 3 quality starts in his 3 outings at Coors Field. ERA at 3.60, and the opposition hitting just .211 against him here at home.
The Giant Fordland Scouting Report. Hey, right now, purchase a used vehicle from the Giant Fordland, and if ever breaks, we'll buy it back or fix it for free. No questions asked.
And the 2-0 foul back by Connor Jackson. Jackson at 230 has not driven in a run in almost a calendar month. It's May 15th. His last RBI was on a bases loaded walk, no less, April 18th.
That is just an amazing number when you start pouring over the stats.
That's a good changeup.
To see that number, no RBIs, and where he's hitting too. He's moved all the way from the 2nd to the 5th. Nice tight slider from Jason.
And the 2-2 is going to die in in right field, and Jeff Baker will have to throw it in. Into the bat single for Connor Jackson. Here are the gloves tonight for the Rockies. An outfield of Holiday, Taveras, and Jeff Baker getting the start tonight against the left-hander Atkins, Tulowitzki, Carroll, and Helton in the infield. Torrealba's behind the plate. The Rockies have turned 40 double plays, 3rd most in the National League, one of 7 teams in baseball to have turned at least 40 double plays. Troy Tulowitzki has been the everyday shortstop, and he is the kind of guy that really doesn't need a lot of breaks.
A young guy like that, 22 years old, he'd play every day just like he did when you were 17.
Yeah. There's a strike on Orlando Hudson, hitting .313 with 6 home runs. As I said a moment ago, he's been the steadiest offensive contributor for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Probably right behind him would be Eric Burns. Chad Tracy has picked things up also. But a lot of the kids, with the exception really of Chris Young, have not done a lot with the bat so far.
Well, they haven't. And think about even the last 10 games is really when Chris Young has picked it up. And that's why he's hitting up now at the 250 mark. But you go down the lineup, we talked about Connor Jackson and his inability to drive in runs. Stephen Drew's struggling. Carlos Quinn. All these guys that they were counting on really right now are not carrying their weight for the Diamondbacks.
1-1 in the air, left field. Two outs. Returning to first base is Connor Jackson. And a reminder, tonight is Email the Booth night. And here's how you do it. Go to foxsports.com and then search Rockies Booth. That's foxsports.com. And then search Rockies Booth, brought to you by Office Liquidators and officeliquidators.com. You click, we ship free. Well, last time we gathered, Sunday afternoon, game time temperature, it was 84 degrees. It's 57 degrees. Here in the top of the first inning as Chad Tracy steps in.
There's some storm last night as well. Field's in outstanding shape today, though. Mark Razum and his crew, boy, they just do an outstanding, fabulous job. Had it covered. You walk out there today, like nothing happened.
Those guys work a lot of hours getting this field ready in the winter. And then every day in the summer. This is another flare that's going to drop. 2 balls that look like mishit sand wedges for singles. So 2 outs, and that'll bring up Burns. Let's take a look at our keys to victory tonight. Jeff?
The key first one is make sure Taveras continue to get on base. Willie has a home on base percentage of almost .380. Next is keep Eric Burns in check. 8-game hitting streak and a Rockies killer earlier this year, and get a win at home. The Rockies play 16 out of their next 22 at home, and they need to start putting a streak together, and tonight would be a nice place to start. All this brought to you by Burt Toyota, your keys to the game.
So the dangerous Eric Burns at the plate, .289 average, 5 home runs. His last home run a week ago at Chase Field traveled almost 500 feet. It was the second longest home run ever hit at Chase Field.
Earlier this year against the Rockies, he had some long home runs here at Coors Field.
1-1. You're out there on the mound right now, Huey, and Jason Hirsch is saying, oh, I've made really good pitches to every hitter, and there's two guys on base.
Well, the first guy, and Connor Jackson, hit it right off the end of the bat, blooped it down the right field line. Chad Tracy got jammed and hit it down the left field line. Together, both those balls wouldn't have traveled 400 feet. Good pitches. Sometimes that happens. Now's a chance to make another quality pitch, get out of this inning.
Change up and a beauty, 1-2. That's the pitch. I'm going to say he has gotten away from it because it's a big part of his repertoire. But if you remember his first couple of starts, he was getting the swing and miss on the changeup with great regularity.
Yeah, but that was because he was spotting his fastball working ahead. That puts the hitter in a different spot. Once you can throw that changeup, then when you're ahead in the count. And that's what Jason wasn't doing. Now tonight he's working ahead, and then he can go back to that changeup.
See if he doubles up on it. Nope, fastball, and he thought he was in the dugout. He spotted that right where he wanted it. Tailing on the inside corner, Rick Reed didn't give him the strike call.
Right where Yorvit had set up and 2 or 3 inches off the plate, but you stay around that all night long and Rick Reed will eventually give it to you. Now you've established it. See if they go back in with the fastball or the changeup away.
Change up, and he got it with 2 men on. Good pitching by Hirsch. He strikes out Burns with Jackson and Tracy on base. Bottom of the first inning, Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston from Coors Field. Let's take a look at Clint Hurdle's lineup tonight as they open up a 3-game set with Arizona. Willie Taveras swinging the bat well. He'll be in center field. And Troy Tulowitzki, he's become a fixture with the injury to Kaz Matsui in that 2-hole. Matt Holliday, Todd Helton, Garrett Atkins. Jeff Baker had a good series against San Francisco when he played. Yorvi Torrealba in the 7th spot, then Jamie Carroll. And Jason Hirsch to face the big unit, making his 5th start of the year. Career start .551.
And this is brought to you by the Giant Fordland, the 5-time Cy Young Award winner. Had some back issues earlier and took a no decision in his last outing. Did have 9 strikeouts. And the righties need to do some damage. Righties are hitting over 300 against Randy this year. And elevate the slider. Tough pitch to hit when it's down by your ankle. And right now, purchase a used vehicle from the Giant Fordland. And if it ever breaks, we'll buy it back or fix it for free. No questions asked.
I got this question on my radio show this morning. They said, you know, do you think Randy Johnson's done? He struck out the first 6 batters he faced in his last outing. Now he's still getting stretched out a little bit. This ball's pulled foul. But I mean, you have to be pretty special to strike out 6 guys in a row in this game at this level.
And he still hit 97 miles an hour. It wasn't like he was up there throwing 82, 83 miles an hour. Still firing it up there at 97. And folks, don't forget, this guy won, we mentioned in the open, 17 games last year for the Yankees.
Each of the last 2 years. Strike 3 on Taveras, and he's starting out as he did in his last outing. At 91 miles an hour, he spots the fastball, and Willie's gone. Here's the Diamondbacks defensively. Burns in left, Chris Young in center field, Carlos Quentin in right. So a couple of rookies out there. Tracy and Drew left side, Hudson and Jackson on the right side. Snyder's behind the plate. They play 4 guys every day that don't have a lot of big league experience in Young, Drew, Quentin, and even Connor Jackson. Connor Jackson was a rookie last year. 0-1 on Tulowitzki. Rockies have not faced the big unit since 2004. And they beat him that day, 4-2. Big unit gave up only 1 earned run, but suffered the loss. Rockies actually have beaten him 3 of the last 5 times.
He's been pretty tough in his career overall. 14-7 with a ERA just a little above 2. He's done that to a lot of teams.
And Tulowitzki's gone.
One of the keys for Randy Johnson is make sure you get that elevated slider. Well, that certainly was a tough one to hit, and that's exactly where he likes to try to put it, right down at that back ankle. By the time you realize it is not a strike, it's too late.
So Matt Holliday, hitting .364, will step up. He had a couple of home runs in that series against the Giants. Fastball's outside. Hitting .390 against right-handed pitching, .278 against left-handed pitching. And this ball is roped to deep right center field. And it'll be run down by Quentin. What a catch that was. That had double written all over it, and Carlos Quentin tracked it down. And he better get an attaboy from Randy Johnson when he gets back to the dugout. That's a terrific running catch. For the second inning on Email the Booth night, Drew Goodman along with Jeff Hewson. A couple of Texas leaguers for Arizona in the first. This question from Michael in Arvada. Drew, when the Rockies hit a home run, you say, take a good look, you won't see it for long. I do on occasion, and you were wondering where I got that from. And I saw this email just a moment ago in the commercial break, and I have no idea.
It just came to you.
And if I stole it from somewhere, I apologize, but I really don't recall. Somebody asked me a number of years ago when I started doing baseball, I said, what's your home run call going to be? And that question also stumped me because well, I didn't sit back and say, well, I'm going to create 500 new ways to tell you it went over the wall. And from home run to home run, as you know, kind of just roll, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, but a lot of guys, I mean, they sit there and practice before and figure out, hey, this is what I'm going to say when the ball's hit out of the ballpark. Good question.
It is a good question. And everybody's different. I think some people have stock phrases they want to work in. Jeff Baker in right field with the catch.
Fans, don't forget, tomorrow night against the Diamondbacks, the first 10,000 fans through the gates will receive a coupon for $1 hot dogs sponsored by Hebrew National. Get your tickets at any Rockies ticket outlet or online at ColoradoRockies.com.
Carlos Quentin with Stephen Drew in the book steps up. Quentin at just 195.
He's even worse on the road. He's 4 for 34 so far in the 07 season, a 118 average.
I like seeing Hurst work that breaking pitch in there, give the hitter something else to think about. There's the split you were talking about, just $118 away from Chase Field. Ground ball to third. Third baseman loved that. Right?
Best
You'll take that hop all day.
Huh? Those are the kind you get during batting practice when the coaches are hitting fungos. Well, I like what Jason's doing so far. You mentioned a partner that he's able to work the break and pitch in as well as the fastball, but he's also getting the ball and going. I mean, it's not a whole lot of wasted time in between pitches. That's certainly what the infielders like and the outfielders as well.
Chris Snyder takes a fastball down low. He's always done his best work with the bat against the Rockies, a career .355 average against Colorado. And he too with a slow start offensively this year. There are a number of comparisons one could make between Arizona and the Rockies offensively this year. However, Arizona comes in 20-19. The Rockies 6 games south of 500. The difference has been pitching. They have a rotation that has been more consistent than the Rockies, and the bullpen has been far better than Colorado's.
And that's when it comes down to any team winning or losing. It comes down to what happens on the hill. How the pitcher out there is throwing, how your starting pitching is going once you have to take him out, what your bullpen does. Certainly so far, with the D-backs getting Randy Johnson back, certainly helps their starting rotation.
93 miles an hour just off the black. It looks like he has a good fastball command tonight, at least early on.
Well, he's been able to hit any location that Yorvit has called so far. Remember earlier in this ball game, he wanted it inside, then he goes back outside.
Nice inning by Jason Hirsch's second strikeout. 1, 2, 3 very quickly for Hirsch as he fans Chris Snyder. No score. We go to the bottom of the second inning. Hilton, Atkins, and Baker. But first, Tim Ring.
The most talented of the trio, right, Drew? Hey, real quick, in case folks were joining us late, the Rockies bullpen shuffle continues. Clint Hurdle saying before the game today he now has 2 new relief pitchers, one acquired by trade, Julio Lugo, who actually began the year with these Diamondbacks, acquired from Florida for Young Kim, and Ramon Ramirez is activated off the DL. He is in uniform tonight. Ramirez was outstanding in 7 appearances before getting hurt. But guys, you have to wonder right now about the health of LaTroy Hawkins, eligible to come off the DL on May 6th. At this point, you have to think the elbow injury is more serious than originally thought. There you go, Elton.
Let me get that.
Well, Todd gave it a ride. Chris Young able to run it down in center field, 1 out. Hilton came in with a .250 career average against Randy Johnson. Garrett Atkins steps up.
Garrett's still trying to find that swing. Done a lot of cage work lately. His BP was good today. Now it's just translating it into the game type activity.
There's a strike, 1-1. Check another email presented by Office Liquidators. Traverse in Liberty, Missouri. What do you guys think of the Young Kim for that man, Jorge Julio trade? I don't know what to think of it until probably a month and a half from now. Jorge Julio's throwing like he's capable of, like we've seen him in years past with the hard fastball and the nasty slider, and he's throwing strikes, which is the big deal always with Julio, and he's getting people out, then it'll be a great deal.
Well, he wouldn't have been available, let's face it, if he would have been pitching very well for the Marlins. But let's not forget, this guy does have a history on his side of saving games for Baltimore. Been a closer before. Also been with the D-backs. I mean, it just comes down to a comfort level for him. How he feels like he's going to perform here. Is he comfortable? Garrett flies out to Stephen Drew at shortstop. He certainly has the arm, a power arm and a power slider. If it pans out, great for the Rockies.
Well, one thing that has to turn around for Julio, so far this year in 9 1/3 innings, he's allowed, this is unbelievable, but he's allowed 31 base runners.
Yeah, too much traffic out there. Anytime you have to throw that many, and that's a very high number. I mean, you think about it, 31 base runners.
That's more than 3 an inning.
Yeah, that's not what you're looking for.
But you know what? New setting, and he's a guy with a great arm. So let's see what happens.
Well, and the other thing, too, is Mark Wiley, a special assistant, is a GM.
Worked with him in Baltimore.
Yeah, and he's actually going to come in and take a look at him when he throws on the side. He should be in tonight or tomorrow.
Hey, there was
another set of eyes.
There was a time guys did not want to face Jorge Julio, and it wasn't that long ago. 0-2 on Baker. Tried to sneak that fastball by Baker up high, and Jeff was right on it.
One thing Jeff can do, he can get on top of that high fastball. Just be wary of the slider down by the back ankle.
That's what he tried to do with it, but he left that one over the plate.
And that's what you have to be. When you're 0-2, it makes it a little bit more difficult to hit that hanging slider. You can see Chris Snyder really trying to want that ball down, and RJ left it up just a little bit. They just fouled it back.
Baker a home run against the left-handers last start, Barry Zito. Second home run of the year. Had a home run opening day against these Diamondbacks. Came against Brandon Webb. 2 outs, nobody on against the big unit. 1-2 pitch. Strike 3. So Johnson has been very impressive in the first 2 innings. So has Hirsch been. We'll go to the third, scoreless. Rockies show off their swings, but they're in a tee box instead of the batter's box. Can they swing a golf club as well as they swing a bat? Also, pitcher Brandon Webb rocks out with his custom-made Fender Cy Young guitar. That's tuned in Thursday at 6:30 to 9:30 for Rockies All Access. I guess we have a little bit of Diamondbacks All Access also, since Brandon Webb will be pitching tomorrow.
Keith Blyer and the boys were out at the Rockies Clint Hurdle golf tournament yesterday. Sure, they got quite a few funny shots.
Strike 1 on Randy Johnson. And a little bit low. Again, Rockies All Access can be seen Thursday at 6:30 and 9:30. One and two as Randy waves at the slider.
Jason said, I'm not going to just lay a fastball, 4-seam fastball right in there. I'm going to make you try to hit this slider as well.
How about Oliver Perez? He gave up 1 hit in his first 8 innings. Now it's to a pitcher the other day, and this is going to not drop. Thankfully, Taveras was playing so short, and Willie Randolph got after him for not throwing his counterpart a slider when he got ahead of him 0-1.
When we talk about type of pitches that Jason will throw, the 4-seam fastball, that's the one that just stays straight. You just want to try to throw it down the meat of the plate. The 2-seam, you're going to have a lot more movement on it from one side to the other. The slider is tight and hard, just a little break, probably about 4 to 6 inches. And then the changeup, it's a circle change. You can see this little area right there. Boom, and that's why he gets the movement on the circle change that he does.
Just off the plate to Chris Young. Young hit a fly ball to center field. Actually, he's left center field. Taveras, his first at bat was over toward right center. Now he's playing him straight up. That's there, 1 and 2. He's pounding the strike zone with that fastball.
And he's just hitting his spots, and that's part of the reason why Willie was able to move over into the gap onto the left side of second base as we're looking at it. After the ball that Chris Young hit out there last time. So far, so good for Jason Hirsch in 38 total pitches. I mentioned it earlier in his last 2 games in 10 innings. He's throwing 210 pitches. You get back down to that manageable number, 12 to 15 per inning.
Got him on a breaking pitch. Third strikeout for Jason Hirsch. 2 gone here in the third.
Let's take a look at the last pitch to Randy Johnson. We mentioned as we look on the Exmo, just the changeup that he threw. Sunk down and in a little bit to Randy Johnson. That's why he didn't hit it very hard.
Connor Jackson hit one off the end of the bat that dropped into short right field near the right field line for a single, and the changeup's down low, ball 1.
I'll take it. This Exmo is really great. This is the slider that we talked about. You can see the rotation on the baseball as it goes down. Get the strikeout.
Center field, Taveras territory.
Let me get that.
Another 1, 2, 3 innings, 7 in a row set down by Jason Hirsch. Bottom of the third inning, Yorvi Torrealba will lead things off for the Rockies, and Jamie Carroll and the pitcher Jason Hirsch. Yorvi had a nice series against his former club, the Giants. He always has good series against the Giants. He was 5 for 10 against San Francisco.
Came out of the mini slump that he was in prior to that series.
Nice slider, strike one.
Let's take a look at our next email. After Taylor Buckholz's struggles on Sunday, do you think he will be sent to the bullpen or given another chance to show improvement? It's from Lauren and Golden. You know, Lauren, right now there's really not too many options. He will stay in the rotation. Ubaldo Jimenez down in AAA is struggling a little bit. Rodrigo Lopez isn't quite ready to come back. He's probably still 2 to 3 weeks away. Rodrigo did throw 3 innings yesterday, 42 pitches. His next outing, he'll need to get up to about the 60 pitch mark. Probably once again down an extended spring. He had pretty good fastball location and good speed on it. His slider wasn't as sharp as they would hope, but still, it's still early. He'll probably need 2 or 3 starts in AAA to get some more seasoned guys to see how his arm really recovers. So Taylor, for now, is going to stay into the rotation.
Up high, 2-2.
Nice at bat so far for Jorvid. Playing off a few tough pitches. See how he handles this slider.
Oh man, on the back door, Johnson caught the corner. 4th strikeout of the first 7 he's faced. So again, for all those folks out there wondering if Randy Johnson's washed up, have you been watching?
Well, his 4th strikeout, he really missed his location. Snyder wanted it down and away, or down and in, excuse me. Randy just left it up and away. Backdoor slider on the outside part of the plate. Jorvid knew it. And one more look on the Exmo. Chris Snyder held the glove tight for Rick Reed to call it.
Top to third, Tracy. Strike to Connor Jackson, 2 outs. Chevy offers more choices of flex fuel vehicles than anyone. When you drive any of these Chevy flex fuel vehicles, you can help reduce greenhouse emissions and reduce our dependency on foreign oil. Good for the environment, good for the economy, good for Colorado. Chevy, made for Colorado. 8 in a row set down to begin the ball game. This looks like the Randy Johnson we saw for years with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He has the most wins of any pitcher against the Rockies, 14, and he has the lowest ERA against the Colorado Rockies among opposition starters who've thrown a fair number of innings. He has a 2.35 career ERA against the Rockies, and here at Coors Field he's been very good. He's 5-4 at Coors Field with a 3.86 ERA.
It's not surprising considering the career batting average of all the guys that have faced Randy is only 218, so he's obviously doing something pretty special.
Hirsch looking at his bat saying, hey, I made contact with the big unit.
Willie Taveras, he might want to watch out. That ball wasn't too far away from him at the on-deck circle. Kind of backed away a little bit. Guess there's no safe place once you're out of the dugout, though.
They'll complete the play at first base. 5 strikeouts, first time through the lineup for Randy Johnson. We'll go to the 4th. No score. Taco Bell game reset. Well, we're not going to show you any offense because there hasn't been any. Jason Hirsch has been terrific. He's got the good changeup going. He's got a live fastball. He has struck out 3. He's allowed 2 hits, 2 soft singles. Randy Johnson has been perfect through the first 3 innings, including 5 strikeouts. You got Willie Taveras there. Troy Tulowitzki on the slider. Jorvi Torrealba looking at a slider. So we go to the 4th inning. A couple of bagels up on the scoreboard. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Tim Ring wandering around the ballpark. Orlando Hudson, Chad Tracy, Eric Burns for the Diamondbacks. 3, 4, and 5 in their lineup. Diamondbacks have lost a couple straight, just 4 and 8 in the month of May. They're a game over 500 because April they pitched very, very well. They had a team ERA in April in the mid-3s. It's about a run higher this month. They've been able to put together 2 6-game winning streaks already this year.
Well, and it is because of their pitching. It's really, their hitting has been so inconsistent for the D-backs that they had to rely on their pitching, both starters and relievers.
They're in an interesting stretch right now. I'm sure they wouldn't characterize it as interesting. They would probably characterize it as maddening. They have gone 12 straight games without scoring more than 4 runs in a ball game.
That's amazing, just out of pure statistics, that you would think that they would be able to drop a 6 or 7 spot out there.
They haven't had an inning where they've scored more than 2 runs since April the 30th. Then you look down at the batting averages outside of this guy, Hudson, Tracy, and Burns, 3, 4, and 5. Everybody is struggling at the plate. Drew at 230, Quentin at 195, Chris Snyder at 206.
Well, that was a nice call by Rick Reed, giving him the outside black.
Now they're going to come inside. 3 and 2.
It's okay. You get the hitter to move his feet a little bit, get out of his comfort zone. You're just gone away with the fastball. Try to come back in again. Now you've got him set up for either the fastball back in or the changeup away. Pretty simple plan.
It was the changeup.
Hey, Rockies fans, when you donate your old car, truck, or SUV to Cars Helping Kids, you can change a kid's life. When you donate a vehicle, you not only get a tax break and a free tow, but you also get a $1,000 voucher toward the purchase of a new or used vehicle from Freeway Ford and Longmont Ford. For more information, go to carskids.com or cheaperfords.com.
Good pick up by Helt on a low throw by Tulowitzki. 1 out as Hudson's retired. He'll bring up Chad Tracy. Check another email, again presented by Office Liquidators every Tuesday night. This from Nick in Denver. Why is everyone making a big deal about LaTroy Hawkins coming back? I remember him blowing a couple of games for us earlier in the year. Well, he didn't get off to a great start, but LaTroy Hawkins is a guy that has had a lot of success at the big league level, particularly as a setup man. And I think when you compare him to, with all due respect to Denny Batista and a young kid like Alberto Arias, you have to have a lot more confidence if you're Clint Hurdle putting up your right hand and calling on LaTroy Hawkins right now than Batista or Arias, just because you don't know what you're going to get. One because of youth and the other because of inconsistency throwing strikes.
I think the other thing that you're going to get too, though, I think LaTroy was masking the pain of his elbow more than he ever let on. That's what a veteran guy will do, and it finally came to the point where he couldn't pitch like he wanted to pitch. So his numbers and his results weren't what you would expect from LaTroy Hawkins. So I think the second time around, you're going to see a little different LaTroy.
And he needs to be different. He'd be the first to tell you that. Everybody down there, with probably the exception of Brian Fuentes and Manny Corpus, need to be better.
Yeah, and he's a stand-up guy, and he admitted that much before he went on the DL. Listen, I'm not pitching very well. I need to do a better job, and he's a stand-up guy.
2 outs, Eric Burns at the plate. And Burns fires at the first pitch, fouls it off. Now this is a different Jason Hurst than we saw in St. Louis, and really the last couple of outings where Hirsch's fastball command left him, or left him at least periodically. This is the guy we saw the first 3 outings of the year. Through the fastball by him.
When you're seeing guys swing and miss straight through fastballs right over the middle part of the plate, you know they're not picking it up. It has a little late movement on it. And for a guy that has to use the fastball to set up his off-speed pitches, not the other way around, you need to pound the strike zone.
Burns had to go into a crouch and did just check his swing. 1 and 2 on that breaking pitch.
A curveball about 77 miles an hour is Burns gets out on the front side, but strong enough to keep his hands back. Whoever goes to the other batter's box to block it.
Swung on and missed. Strikeout number 4. So Jason Hirsch in another Hall of Fame matchup. He's had one every outing this year, standing his ground against. Well, there's the matchup tonight. 6'8" Jason Hirsch against 6'10" Randy Johnson. Johnson 280 career wins, headed for the Hall of Fame. So now Hirsch has faced Maddox twice and won both of those games.
Yep.
Smoltz on one occasion
Against Atlanta.
He
also
faced
had
Matt Cain,
Matt
right?
Cain in against San Francisco here. And then at LA in his second start, he had Brad Penny. And then Matt Belisle in Cincinnati. And Adam Wainwright in St. Louis.
I defy
now
anybody.
Randy Johnson.
I defy anybody to tell me a pitcher that has faced more great arms than Jason Hirsch has this year.
And this is where it goes back to a #1 starter versus a #1 starter. After opening day, it gets mixed up.
Johnson will not. Oh, man, that's an interesting throw. He threw it so poorly it ricocheted off the dugout. He obviously didn't have a grip on it. Another bunt single for Willie Taveras, the Rockies' first hit, first base runner.
And this is what you need to do with Randy Johnson. Not too mobile out on the mound, never really has been. And Willie once again lays down a nice bunt down the third baseline. And RJ tried to hold up, realizing that he could not get the speedy Willie Taveras. Fortunate for the Diamondbacks that it hit the fence.
Those fences didn't used to exist.
Yeah.
Willie be at second base. Now just about every dugout in baseball has one.
Well, it's a safety issue. You just don't want to see guys getting hurt there.
Well, what kind of move does Randy Johnson have?
And not real good. He likes to try to work quick, but nice bunt from Willie. Chris Snyder felt coming out of the box behind the plate, and RJ just tried to hold up at the last second.
I saw that throw the other day.
In a Little League game?
Zacky's
Zacky's
7-year-old game.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't have the same velocity, but the direction was similar.
Get back to Randy. His move to first has gotten better. As one of those things when he first came up wasn't very good at all. He was just more concerned with trying to throw it across the plate. Now he's learned a little bit more. With age comes wisdom, and he's learned to hold guys, but he's still more concerned about the guy at the plate.
I always felt, and tell me if this is accurate, that guys like Randy Johnson, who had the mid-90s fastball and obviously punched a lot of guys out, their move, they were less concerned about holding guys on, and they were just going to run it up, you know, to the plate. And if the catcher, you know, figuring, hey, I throw a 95, he'll have a decent enough chance anyhow to throw him out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happens sometimes with some of the good pitchers. They don't care about the guy on first base. They say, go ahead. If you want to try to steal, I'm going to still get the guy at the plate. And especially a guy like Randy, like you said, even if you take off first movement, by the time he gets the ball to home plate at 95 miles an hour, that's going to make up for some distance that the guy at first base was able to get going on first movement.
Clint had Tulowitzki try to bunt there, which isn't a surprise.
Well, yeah.
Hirsch is pitching, Randy Johnson on the mound, and
Matt Holliday and Todd Helton coming up.
I mean,
you got to figure out a way.
This is going to be a low-scoring game from both managers' standpoints right now. Swinging away here, shallow center field. Young will get to it easily, and Taveras will return to first, 1 out. Let's check another email. We go north of the border to Casper, Wyoming. Josh, are Randy Johnson and Jason Hirsch the tallest pitcher combination in Major League Baseball history? Or maybe the tallest counterparts? Well, our Excel Energy fun fact tonight. Tonight's two pitchers are combined 162 inches tall, the highest combined height of two starters in the same game ever. Here's another fun fact from Excel Energy. The most commonly used renewable energy source in the world is water. On 14 previous occasions, there was a matchup that produced 161 inches. Randy Johnson was involved in 12 of those 14. Eric Hillman.
Yeah, that's what I was
We needed
thinking.
Hillman, our pregame show and postgame show analyst. We needed Eric involved in a matchup with the big unit because Eric's 6'10".
How about those two guys?
Or John Roush. Where's John Roush right now? With Washington. If he faces Johnson this year, they'll break the record.
Which is a possibility, yeah.
Roush at 6'11".
When Eric was pitching for the Mets, RJ was over the American League.
You know,
this is
going to get broken this year. You know it, because Chris Young is 6'10".
Yep.
And Chris Young pitches for the Padres.
In the same division.
At some point this year, Johnson and Young are going to match up. So this is a record. Enjoy, Hirsch, Johnson, enjoy this night. It's over in a couple of weeks. But Josh, good question. Pitch out, nothing cooking, and it's 1-1. Holiday was flat robbed his first time up. He drove the ball to right center field. Looked like it was going to be at least a double. And Carlos Quentin.
And he got after that ball.
Must have had a tremendous jump to get to the baseball.
Well, plus he's playing a little bit deeper with Matt. That allowed him to get back to the wall.
And they got him picked off. That'll go as a caught stealing. So there goes the Rockies' only base runner.
A lot of times immediately after a pitch out, you'll send the base runner in first movement. That's exactly what Clint elected to do. Bob Melvin and Randy Johnson were thinking along those same lines. They toss over to first.
It's really a guessing game with the lefty.
And you know, you can't blame him. You're looking to try to score one run. They just pitched out. I don't think they'll throw over again or pitch out again.
Every once in a while, a left-hander, will predetermine that he's going over and do something different either with his hands or his setup, just something subtly different that'll be the giveaway.
And it's not only left-handers, right-handers will do the same thing with how close their feet are together. Are they wider apart? Are they looking home? But pitchers typically from the left side, if they're going home, they will look to first base. If they're going to first base, they'll look at home like I'm trying to trick you somehow.
Oh, they're lefties.
Yep.
So
a lot of lefties will have their hat off to the side just a little bit different.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know.
Always wondered that. Dontrell Willis is one. The hat's just a little bit off center. Outside 2-2. Let's take a look at our Esurance inside information. It concerns 43-year-old Randy Johnson. He holds the Coors Field record for Ks in a game with 14 back on April 13, 2001. And he gets Holiday here. That is his 6th strikeout of the ball game. Willie Taveras had a bunt single, but he was picked off. Get tickets at the track or at Bandamere.com. Well, there's cotton candy, and then there's warm milk for that little fella.
A lot of kids at the ball game tonight. Arapahoe Youth Baseball League night. You got to walk around the bases. I saw you with your son out there, Jacob, tonight.
Yeah, Zach and Jacob both walking around.
Nice.
Gabe was out there, but he's only 4, so he has to wait a couple years. Almost 2,000 kids tonight. The Rockies do a great job with all the youth league and little league teams in the area. They have them on a regular basis come out to the ballpark, get to walk around, and they do it close to the start of the game, which is nice because a lot of the players and coaches are already in the dugout. Some are already on the field stretching, running sprints, and the players are great. They'll high-five the kids, and it's really a great experience. Here's the 1-1.
Really, that's a surprising thing, how close to game time they allow him to walk around the warning track to see the players up close and personal. I mean, what kind of memories are they going to have? That's just a neat thing.
In the air to shallow right field. Jeff Baker read it. And Stephen Drew is retired.
Hey fans, do you have this summer's big ticket? The Yankees visit Coors Field June 19th through the 21st, and tickets are going quickly, so get yours today. Get your tickets at any Coors Field, any King Soopers or Rockies dugout store, or by calling 1-800-388-ROCK or online at coloradorockies.com.
11 in a row set down by Jason Hirsch. Here's Carlos Quentin. And this is going to be 12 in a row. This is good old-fashioned baseball game right now. Hirsch and Johnson just setting them down, knocking them off like dominoes.
Good old-fashioned pitching duel as we look at Jason Hirsch.
The 2 hits against Hirsch in the first inning. Jackson a bloop off the end of the bat to right, and then Chad Tracy the same deal to left. And I'm not exaggerating. They were not line drives.
Nope.
They were bloops. They were Texas leaguers. Randy Johnson has been very good. Here's Chris Snyder. He's allowed just a bunt single in the ball game.
You mentioned the tough opponents that Jason Hirsch has had to face. Well, he's certainly going toe-to-toe with Randy Johnson tonight.
If you have a break in your windshield, take it to Elite Auto Glass, #1 for more than one reason. Two balls and a strike on Chris Snyder. A rare 3-1 count.
Yeah, the interesting thing tonight too with Chris Snyder is that Robbie Hammock had actually been Randy Johnson's personal catcher for a while. The last couple starts, it's been back to Chris Snyder.
This ball's hit pretty well center field.
Hey, let me get that.
But Willie's got it right on the edge of the track, 400 feet from home plate.
You win. We are as Keith and Carissa get you in the dugout and on the field.
Threesome the last time we sent it to Tim Ring.
And Drew, hopefully it works out a little better than last time. I am high in center field. You guys have been showing the Exmo camera here tonight. Super slow motion. The reason why we don't have it each and every game is because it's expensive. And the reason why it's expensive is because it's very cool. As you can see, when this thing breaks down 400 frames of video per second. Jeff, you talked about the rotation on the ball, and I think that might be the biggest benefit to looking at baseball this slowly. But also, guys, when you talk about the torque that pitchers put on the ball, you can really see the way they do that, the way their arm moves. And also, Huey, I want to get your thoughts on this. Able to see how every body part acts and reacts during the swing of a major league hitter.
Well, and that's the fun part about the Exmo, is to really be able to break down, and we see Randy Johnson's arm gets parallel to the ground before he actually throws. Just try standing up in your living room and doing that right now. I mean, you can't hardly get your arm back at all. But then when you get into a ball game, the adrenaline's going, you do stuff, whether you're hitting or pitching, that you don't even realize that you can get your body into that type of position.
Good play by the Gold Glover at second base in the National League last year, Orlando Hudson, to throw out Todd Helton.
We talked about Randy Johnson and getting all of his arm into it. As we stop it, right as it gets to that position, you can just see his arm and his torque going that way, going all the way around, and the strain on the elbow as it goes. and then his hips and his legs and his weight transfer follows.
Strike on Atkins. Garrett popped to short his first time. Just 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs in the month of May for Atkins. Last home run more than a month ago down in Arizona.
Tim was right. It's amazing to see the mechanics either of a swing or a pitch and how it all works. You have to get all the movement going at one time into one direction, and it all comes together in a split second.
Two and 2 on Atkins. Well, you know Garrett's going to get it going. It's just a matter of when it happens for him. He had one of the best second halves in baseball, period, last year. And he waves at 2 pitches, which is uncharacteristic of Atkins. That hard slider. Johnson is on his game. This is clearly his best outing since returning from the back surgery.
What I'm talking about, look at his arm as he goes. This thing is parallel to the ground right now before he releases the baseball. And you can see the torque on the elbow and the arm coming back this way before he starts to go home. It's just amazing that there really aren't more arm injuries because the arm is not designed to go that way.
Strike on Jeff Baker. Baker caught looking his first time up. 7 strikeouts for Johnson. That's off the plate.
Part of the reason tonight, he's already 12 for 15 in first pitch strikes, and you spot a guy like a Randy Johnson, first pitch being down 0-1. The odds aren't too good to come out on the winning end of that at bat.
Probably not. 4,579 career strikeouts, 3rd all-time for Randy Johnson. To give you an idea of just how great your good friend Nolan Ryan was, he has 5,714. That's what he finished with. Roger Clemens is second on the list, and he's way off that mark. He's 1,000 from that. 2 and 1 on Baker.
He just has the nasty slider working tonight.
Yeah,
too.
when you see Baker and Atkins, 2 guys who can hit the baseball, have 3 swings now combined the way they have in the last at bat and a half, you know that slider is just unhittable tonight.
And it's just late breaking too. And I mentioned it earlier, you go to swing at it and all of a sudden it disappears. It's not even where you thought it was going to be. You see it as a fastball rotation out of his hand, and the rotation is so tight on the baseball and so much late movement that you just can't hold up.
3-2, and Johnson stumble a little bit, so he'll line it up again. There's Bob Melvin, and Bob knows how to hit Randy Johnson. He's the one guy who could do it. .452 career hitter against the big unit. Tied for first all-time with Randy Velarde. Isn't that something?
That
I mean,
is.
you know, with all due respect to Bob Melvin, wasn't known as a great offensive player. Randy Velarde was solid, not a great offensive player. And those 2 guys have the highest career averages against Randy Johnson. I always like to tell the story. Larry Walker, who everybody thought ducked Randy Johnson, hit Randy Johnson just about as good as Melvin did, and he hit him from the left side.
I think John Kruk might have been the only guy that really ducked him.
Oh, Walker's numbers against Randy Johnson, and we'll try to give them to you in a little bit here, were extraordinary.
And you think too, lefty on lefty, a lot of times you'll see right-handed dominant lineups against Randy Johnson's. I mean, 1 through 9. Managers try to do that if they can.
Well, Walker, when Johnson was with Seattle in an interleague game, Don Baylor sat him down. So everybody thought that Larry Walker, one of the great players in the game, was ducking Randy Johnson. Don Baylor, his managers, took him out of the lineup. He put an all right-handed lineup, as most teams do. You were just talking about it. And then everybody remembers when he goofed around and put the helmet backwards in the All-Star game, so they figured he wanted no part of him. But from that point on, he used to tear him up. There's another strikeout, number 8. This is the Randy Johnson of 5 years ago. Cy Young vintage tonight. That's what the Rockies are seeing. Here comes the Duck with our nightly trivia question. Fred Lewis hit for the 7th cycle in Coors Field history on Sunday. Who hit the first cycle ever here? Or are we trying to give a hint? I know Todd Helton has a cycle.
Was it the first, though?
Mike Lansing had a cycle here. Craig Biggio had a cycle here. All right, Dougie looked it up for us. Larry Walker against the big unit, 393 career average, which is the 5th best average ever against Randy Johnson. Velarde and Bob Melvin are number 1.
Okay.
Chipper Jones is 3rd because, you know, in this first place tie, there's no second. Carlos Martinez is 4th, and then Larry Walker. He's 1st among left-handed batters. Thought that'd be kind of interesting to note because so many Rockies fans recall when he supposedly ducked him. And Walker watches a lot of games down in West Palm Beach. Walker, if you're looking in, nice job against the big unit. Here's the 1-1, and Johnson hits it in the air to left center field. Holiday is back there and makes the catch. Let's go back a half dozen years ago. April 13, 2001. Randy Johnson setting him down, as he's done many times in his career. Coors Field best, 14 strikeouts. There's Walker. Even got Walker that night. And Uribe. Did it quickly, too, didn't it?
That was quick.
The same thing we saw back in 01 is the same thing we're seeing tonight. That hard slider to go with the hard fastball.
But meanwhile, we talked a lot about Randy Johnson. How about the work of Jason Hirsch? 14 in a row set down. 2 bloop singles. That's it against Jason Hirsch. So as good as Johnson's been, Hirsch has been every bit as good.
And those bloops were exactly that. One off the end of the bat, the other one jam shot to left field.
Chris Young almost had an excuse me base hit down the right field line. Fortunately, that went foul. Young a fly ball to center field and a strikeout. Hirsch has struck out 4. The only ball, I'm trying to think, the only ball hit hard against Hirsch was Snyder's ball to the track in center field to end the 5th inning. And this will be a base hit. And that was a jam shot also. 3rd hit for the Diamondbacks, and that breaks the stretch of 14 in a row set down by Hirsch. So speed at first with 1 out. And the Affleck trivia question. Fred Lewis hit for the 7th cycle in Coors Field history. Did it in his 16th big league game, no less. Who hit the first? Affleck. John Mabry. How about that? When he's with the Cardinals. He was with the Cardinals 3 different times.
Yeah.
Which
Was
time?
that the first time, the second time, or the third time? I think that was the first time.
I think that was the first time.
The Rockies have to be careful with Chris Young at first base. Only trails Eric Burns, who leads the Diamondbacks in stolen bases. Chris Young has 5.
That's pretty close. Chuck Merriweather, the first base umpire, indicating he got the hand back in. Lee Tinsley visiting with Chris Young. It was a nice return to Houston. The native Houstonian Chris Young went 6 for 13 with a couple of home runs over the weekend.
Always nice to go back against your former organization and do well.
Pitch out. Not his organization, but that's hometown.
Yeah. You feel good when you go back there and you got family and friends.
And they said, wow, this is easy. We watch you do this in elementary school and high school. Looked like the same guy.
Bel Air High School.
Yep, suburb of Houston. Two 2-0 with Connor Jackson up there. Jackson, one of the more patient hitters in the National League. Almost to the point of
it's a fault.
To a fault, right?
Yeah, it is. He needs to expand every once in a while, but that's what the Diamondbacks are getting him to try to do. Like right in that instance right there. Ahead in the count, 2-0 with one out. The Diamondbacks would like to see him go ahead and take a hack at that. A look from our overhead shot. Fastball right on the outside part of the plate. Might have been out just a little bit for Connor Jackson. Still a good pitch from Jason Hurd.
Let's check an email. We go to Fort Collins. Kate writes, why do you think that after winning the World Series last year, the Cardinals have fallen this year? Well, first of all, Mark Mulder and Chris Carpenter, one of the best pitchers in the National League, are out. Suppan and Marquis, though Marquis struggled last year, no longer with the organization. That's 4 big reasons right there. This ball's fouled off. It's hard to overcome that.
Well, and they're not hitting the ball out of the ball.
And Albert Pujols, by his standards,
Scott
off
Rowland
to a slow start. Scott Rowland, just really slow start. I mean, Pujols been okay.
Yeah. Jimmy Edmonds has been hurt off and on, but he's not pulling his weight.
Yeah, Jimmy Edmonds had, what, 11 at-bats during spring training?
Yeah.
So they're not hitting, and they're not, and they're starting pitching not what they're accustomed to getting. That's why
you lose those two horses.
That is a fair ball, 2-run home run for Connor Jackson. His first RBIs in a month. And the Diamondbacks have a 2-0 lead. Just the 4th hit given up by Jason Hirsch. But that one hurts, particularly the way Randy Johnson is dealing tonight.
We talk about pitchers making pitches in a bad location, a changeup that just stayed up over the middle part of the plate. Connor Jackson's able to keep it fair down the left field line, hit it into the tunnel. One of the few bad locations that Jason has put the baseball tonight.
First home run for Connor Jackson. Last year he hit 15, and he's a guy that they project to have hit in the 20s or so, and that's why they're a little frustrated that he hasn't been driving the ball more. He drove it there, and this ball's tagged pretty well to left field. Orlando Hudson flies out to the track, 2 outs.
The Coors Field party facilities are a great place to entertain. These facilities are still available to see the Cardinals May 28th through the 31st and the Yankees June 19th through the 21st. Buy one, get one free offers are still available. Call 303-312-2444 for more information.
Tracy takes a strike. Tracy's battled some injuries this year. He rolls one to second in the inning. A single by Chris Young, and Connor Jackson with his first home run since last October has given Randy Johnson a 2-0 lead. There's 5 combined hits. Yorvi Torrealba, Jamie Carroll, and Jason Hirsch in the bottom of the 6th. Your margin for error when you're facing a guy like Johnson is so slim when they're on their game.
And he's on his game tonight, plain and simple. And I like to say there's not such a thing as a bad pitch, just bad location, and that's exactly what happened to Jason Hirsch. It was just bad location with the changeup. Right idea, bad execution. And if you're thinking this inning, Jason Hirsch is up 3rd behind Torrealba and Carroll, and still nobody's warming up in the bullpen. You're only down 2 runs. He's pitching great. Hopefully you can get a base runner on and then allow Jason to bunt the baseball. But even if the first 2 guys get out, then Jason will be up there to hit in the bottom half of this inning.
Randy Johnson's at his 63rd pitch. His next one will be his 64th. Bob Melvin said before the game that they're looking to get Randy right at around the 100 pitch mark tonight.
How many swings like that have we seen on the slider?
That's the 5th or 6th at least. The same thing, that you go to swing at it and it just breaks so hard and so late. I mean, guys are trying to hold up, they just can't do it. Let's take a look at Randy's pitches. 9 in the first, 11, 11, 12, and then he jumped up to 17 and only 5 so far this inning with no outs in the bottom of the 6th.
And Huey, that's really unusual.
It is. That's typically a high number, and the pitch count's sponsored by Sonic.
No, I mean, when I say unusual, it's a very low number for a guy with strikeouts.
And that's what I mean. For RJ, he's looking at a guy 20 to 25 pitches per inning. Yeah, he would like to get away with those kind of numbers, but guys that strike out a lot of hitters, they're typically 6 innings, 7 innings with 115, 120 pitches.
3rd all time. We talked about it earlier. Gives you an idea just how great Nolan Ryan was, how dominant he was also. 2-2 off the end of the bat, down the right field line, and it's foul.
Would Nolan have almost 1,100 more than the next closest guy, and Roger Clemens?
Let's check an email while everybody gets back to their position, and Yorvik Torrealba gets back in the box. Nick in Colorado Springs, what happened to Chris Iannetta? It looks like Yorvik Torrealba is playing more. He is playing more. You have noticed that, Nick, and Yorvik's been a little more consistent with the bat. Chris is doing a nice job behind the plate, but they're trying to get him going offensively. So if there's 7 games in a week right now, 4 or 5 are being caught by Torrealba. And this one is bounced to 3rd.
We talked about Randy Johnson and his Cy Youngs, how good he's been. Think about it. Roger Clemens has 7. Randy Johnson has 5. Steve Carlton and Greg Maddux each have 4 apiece. You go down to guys like Sandy Koufax, Jim Palmer with 3. Tom Glavine, Denny McLain, Brett Saberhagen, a couple each. I mean, that's some names.
Outside, ball 1 on Jamie Carroll. This season, Cardinal Homes is sponsoring Home Runs for Hunger. Each time a Rocky hits a home run, Cardinal Homes will donate $100 to the food bank of the Rockies. To learn more about Home Runs for Hunger or to pledge your support, go to cardinalhomes.com. Click on the Home Runs for Hunger icon. 2-0 Arizona on the 2-run home run by Connor Jackson. Only mistake made by the man in the on-deck circle, Jason Hirsch. And Randy Johnson has allowed 1 base runner, and he erased him when he picked him off. That was Willie Taveras on a bunt single. So he has faced the minimum here with 1 out in the 6th inning. This ball lined to right, but Carlos Quentin is right there. 2 outs.
It's just the luck that Jamie Carroll's been having this year so far. Hits the ball right on the nose. Line drives, gets some attaboys. Nice swing. Fortunately, it's just 0 for 1.
FSN final score later on tonight at 10:30. Hirsch gets a slider. That's not right.
Well, he threw one to Randy Johnson, so I guess Randy thought he needed to pay him back.
We're looking at this pitching performance, and this is what Arizona fans envisioned when they went and got Randy Johnson again. in that you had Johnson going one day and Brandon Webb going another day. And that's what the Rockies are going to have to face, because Webb will get the baseball tomorrow night.
And then they followed up with Livan Hernandez on Thursday.
Is he any good?
Yeah, I heard he is.
And it's three truly different kinds of pitchers.
You got the one lefty that's a hard fastball, a hard slider. Brandon Webb, sinker, curveball. And Livan Hernandez, everything but the kitchen sink. He'll throw it up there 85, might throw a curveball at 62. Who knows?
Nice job by Hirsch, hanging tough.
Don't forget Monday, May 28th, the St. Louis Cardinals are in town. The first 20,000 fans through the gates will receive a trucker hat courtesy of Coca-Cola. Get your tickets at any Rockies ticket outlet or online at ColoradoRockies.com.
Well, you know what? I got to make a prediction here. Hirsch gets his first career hit against a big unit.
Hey, how special would that be? He's gone toe-to-toe with him out on the hill.
Right here, right now.
Okay. Well, Randy thought the same thing. He threw him a slider. '83-mile-an-hour slider, wanted it down and in. Jason was going one way, and Matt was able to foul it off. Came up and hit him while he was still in the box. Foul ball.
This is one of the longer at bats by a Rocky tonight against Johnson.
They're going to throw him that fastball in on his hands.
3-2. Good eye.
Nice at bat from Jason so far.
Hirsch doing what he can to get RJ out of the ball game.
He's going to try it somehow.
Well, the hit will come next time.
Next time.
9 strikeouts for the big unit. He's faced a minimum through 6 innings. 2-0 Arizona. Let's take a look at tomorrow's starters. Brandon Webb, as we've been talking about, will be opposed by Aaron Cook. Boy, they've faced each other, it seems like, a lot over the last couple of years. Two of the best sinker ballers in the National League. As we go to the top of the 7th inning, Eric Burns, Stephen Drew, and Carlos Quentin, 5, 6, and 7 in the Diamondbacks lineup. Again, the difference in the ball game. Chris Young in the 6th inning with 1 out, a single. Connor Jackson, a 2-run home run. That's after 12 in a row was set down by Jason Hirsch. He allowed 2 soft singles in the 1st inning. He's been outstanding.
He has been.
He's made 1 mistake, and Johnson hasn't made any. Burns has struck out twice against Hirsch.
First time with the changeup, the second time with the high fastball.
And Burns just tagged that one. 3-0. Home run number 6 for Eric Burns, his 20th RBI.
Well, I mentioned that Jason got Eric Burns with the high fastball in his last at bat back in the 4th inning. This time Eric Burns jumps on that same high fastball and drives it out to left field. Roger wants the ball down and away. It comes back over the inside part of the plate, and as soon as it was hit, Eric knew it was gone. The Exmo shows the sweet spot of the bat where it hit. Perfect location.
And Stephen Drew with a base hit. Hirsch has allowed 7 home runs this year, which is the most allowed on the club. As Bob Apodaca goes to the mound.
Taking a look at the last pitch from Jason Hirsch. The last couple times he's just missed his location, and not so much side to side, and the pitches have been up. Bob Apodaca is out there now to give Jeremy Affeldt a chance to warm up in the Rockies bullpen. Going to slow things down a little bit for Jason Hirsch. Yeah, felt getting loose in a hurry.
Jeff Francis also has given up 7 home runs this year. Nobody out. Carlos Quint. And a curveball for a strike.
I like to see that. Get that release point back again. The last 2 fastballs that you've thrown, you've missed location. Get that curveball action out in front. Find that feel again.
Quentin, when he played for Cal Berkeley, one of the finalists for the Golden Spikes Award, an honor that goes to the top collegiate player.
Even to be mentioned in that breath as one of the finalists, you'd be a pretty good player.
Yes, you do.
We saw Tim Lincecum the other night for the Giants, who actually won it in '06.
And Mark Sweeney was a finalist when he was in college at the University of Maine.
Jason Jennings also won that award.
Yeah. And Jennings was an All-American not only as a pitcher, he was an All-American as a hitter.
Pretty rare combination in college baseball these days.
1-2, foul back, out of play.
You mentioned that matchup tomorrow, Brandon Webb against Aaron Cook. Those 2 opposed each other on opening day. 2 very similar styles.
Taveras makes the catch, first out of the inning. Drew back to first.
He really is getting some good jumps on the baseball. Came in earlier on a jump from Randy Johnson. And when he had to go back off the bat of Quentin, center field.
Snyder a strikeout and a fly ball to deep center field. Nothing Arizona in the 7th inning. Rockies have 1 hit in the game, a Willie Taveras bunt single, and he was picked off by Randy Johnson. Johnson has faced the minimum. Let's check an email from Aaron in Aurora. The major league players still root for their favorite childhood teams, even if they don't play for that particular team. You know what? That's a great question.
I think some of them do. I really do. I mean, I grew up as a Cubs fan because I lived in Arizona, went to spring training. I still root for them. So yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that root for clubs that they watch growing up. But I think what happens as you play for some teams, I think you start rooting for individuals more than you do for teams per se.
And the 2-0 is fouled off. This point last year, through 39 ball games, Arizona was 22-17, so a similar record this year, 20-19. Of course, the Rockies got off to a very good start last year. Through 33 games, they were 20-13. If you have a break in your windshield, take it to Elite Auto Glass, #1 for more than one reason. Comebacker. See the Rockies can turn two. They will. 1-6-3. Another run, though, for Arizona. Eric Burns with his 6th home run of the year. And he extends the Diamondbacks' lead to 3-2. West.com. So we can use that super slow-mo for more than just following the pitch to the plate. Well, a big story. Randy Johnson's out of the ball game, and Robbie Hammock is in at third base defensively for Chad Tracy. Tony Pena is going to take over, so that pitch count we alluded to is every bit in place for Bob Melvin. He's not going to take any chances with Randy Johnson, even though he had faced the minimum through 6 innings and allowed just a bunt single and struck out 9. Tonight's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
Well, it is a little interesting that Bob Melvin would take Randy Johnson out with only 79 pitches. The way he'd been firing the baseball, he's going to bring in one of his setup guys, and Tony Pena. The other one is Brandon Lyon. They flip-flop between the 7th and the 8th inning guys. Today is Tony Pena's chance to get out there in the 7th inning. That 149 average against ranks 10th in the National League. Bob Melvin with the day off yesterday. There's a couple pitchers that are rested out in the bullpen.
He's quick to the plate at 96 on that fastball. A crowd of 20,178 tonight. We've seen Randy Johnson put on a show, but he's out of there now, and see if the Rockies can make some hay against the Arizona bullpen.
Unless Randy Johnson tweaked something or felt a little something in his back again. He really hadn't struggled out there, had some quick innings. We saw some of his pitch counts, 11 pitches per inning a couple times. Melvin said in his pregame press conference that he was looking for 100 pitches out of RJ tonight. It's kind of breathes new life, though, into the Rockies. You see a different pitcher out there. Pena does throw hard.
Pena starts out like Randy Johnson finished, with a strikeout. Johnson struck out Tavares to begin, Hirsch to finish his 6 innings. Troy in Fort Collins wants to know, why isn't Brad Hopp playing more? Well, Troy, Brad Hopp's playing a lot. You're not going to play Brad Hopp against Randy Johnson. Left on left. I mean, you're not going to play most left-handed bats against Randy Johnson. He is 5th right now in at-bats on the club, and it's very close. He trails only Helton and Holiday, Atkins, and Tulowitzki. And he doesn't trail Tulowitzki by more than a handful of at-bats. So Hopp's been playing virtually every day.
Well, he's been up there as much. You look at Brad Hopp's played in 36 games. Matt Holliday has played in 37.
Tulowitzki almost took Pena's head off with that line drive. Second Rockies hit. Second Rockies base runner.
Talk about hitting the ball back where it is pitched. This is exactly what you want to do. Right over the top of Tony Pena's head. Nice piece of hitting. And I mentioned that you just kind of feel like things are going your way now. You got Randy Johnson out of there. A nice shot from our X-Mo camera. Todd Helton on deck. Bob Melvin has Doug Slayton warming up in the bullpen. Lefty, their situational lefty, the only one in their pen.
Johnson went 6 innings, allowed the 1 hit and struck out 9. See if Holiday can get a quality swing against Tony Pena. He's got the count in his favor, 2-0. Rockies went 2-2 to begin the homestand with that 4-game set against the Giants. This weekend they'll welcome in the Kansas City Royals as interleague play begins.
Nice opportunity here for Matt. Heading the count 2-0 to look for his pitch to drive it out.
Yeah. Pena, when he picks to first, some guys will lob it.
No, he fires it.
Pena throws his 96-mile-an-hour fastball to first.
Some guys aren't comfortable just lobbing it over there. They have to go ahead and spin and throw as hard as they can because that's what they're used to doing.
Four, 6-3 on the turn, and that's all for the Rockies in the 7th. We turn the page to inning number 8. Arizona ahead 3-0. Back in Denver, Arizona leading 3-0. Connor Jackson a 2-run home run, and then Eric Burns a home run in the 7th against Jason Hirsch, who has really pitched very well. The only problem is Randy Johnson was virtually unhittable. A bunt single against him, and then Tony Pena came in last inning, gave up the hit to Tulowitzki, got the double play behind it. So Arizona still has faced the minimum number of Rockies hitters through 7 innings.
Well, think about it. If it hadn't been for Taveras' bunt, RJ probably would have had a no-hitter. He gave up the single last inning, and Pena did. Where are you going?
I wanted to save you in case it came your way. Your hands aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, but I had my glove. I was ready. I was ready. It was coming right back up here. I had it.
Man, that thing needs the relacing.
And some oil and among other things.
Chopped up the middle. Carroll circles and makes a nice play to throw out Robbie Hammett. Let's check in with Keith Blyer, get a game update at the Chevy Sports Desk.
Big series at Fenway Park in Boston. 2 first-place teams, the Red Sox and the Tigers. And this is Sean Casey singling off of Tim Wakefield. Craig Monroe comes home. The men from Motown are winners, 7-2, the final score. Back to the ballpark.
Well, the men from Motown are pretty good again. The team in Boston also running away with the East. To left field, that's a base hit for Chris Young, his 2nd of the night.
Rockies have to be careful in this situation with 1 out. Good opportunity when you have a quick guy like Chris Young. Try to steal a base on the 1st or 2nd pitch. He has 5 on the year.
Hirsch has pitched very well tonight, and he's given up 7 hits now, which is the most he's given up in a ball game this year. When he got into trouble in his last couple of outings, it was not really because he was being hit hard. It was more because he was walking people. He walked 11 in his last 2. The good news is tonight he hasn't walked anybody. And he's pitched well enough to be ahead most nights. But he has drawn Randy Johnson tonight. Ground ball to 3rd. There's one on the first double play. This game cruising right along. Rockies have 6 outs to work with offensively. They trail it 3-0, middle of 8.
Welcome back. Bottom of the 8th inning. Hey, let's take a look at that last double play. Off the bat of Connor Jackson. 2 hopper down to Garrett at 3rd. Nice job on the backhand, getting rid of it quickly to Jamie Carroll. But what a double play. But let's slow it down in the Exmo. And as Jamie Carroll comes and catches the baseball, he plants. And as he's getting ready to throw, and we stop it right there. So notice the bag right there. He has that in front of him. So the runner has to lose all his momentum before he even gets to him on the bag. Nice turn from Jamie Carroll and nice feed from Garrett Atkins. Think the pitcher's not happy to have that double play? Yes, he's still fired up. Pitcher's best friend, that old double play.
Tony Pena is staying in the ball game. He threw only 9 pitches last inning. And he is still out there for Bob Melvin. Yeah, I like that by Bob Melvin. He threw 9 pitches. He's obviously was very effective. We don't need to take him out just because we have a guy slotted for the 8th inning.
Well, he also hasn't pitched since Saturday either.
Yeah. Now, if he had an 18-pitch inning, he probably wouldn't be back out there.
Right. Well, and that's part of the reason why, though, Doug Melvin also has Brandon Lyon. And I mentioned earlier that Doug Slayton was up, the only lefty in the bullpen. I mean, that's to combat if Clint Hurdle needed to go to his bench. You know, you have John Mabry, you have Steve Finley, you have Brad Hopp.
And Slayton was up last inning because Tulowitzki was on. If Holiday gets on, now you're looking at the tying run and help. And this ball chopped toward the hole. Jackson makes a nice play, and Helton is gone. 3-1.
Connor Jackson's not really known for his mobility over at first base, but he did a good job getting over there, catching that ball on the short hop. Nice underhand feed to Tony Pena. A pitcher's fielding practice that you work in endlessly during spring training.
Atkins popped out and struck out against Randy Johnson. Rockies have just 2 hits, the bunt single by Taveras and a clean hit up the middle. Line shot off the bat of Troy Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki's in the 7th. Taveras' bunt single leading off the 4th, and he was picked off. This ball driven to center field. Chris Young is there, though. Rockies have not touched second base since BP.
And the balls that they have hit hard tonight, the last one from Garrett, think back to Jamie Carroll earlier in the ball game, back in the 6th inning, lining out to right field. Other than that, there haven't been too many balls that have been squared up, other than Troy's single last inning up the middle.
Jeff Baker takes strike 1. Another email from Elizabeth, Colorado. Do you guys think that instant replay should be put in baseball? I agree with Clint Hurdle, Huey, on home runs. If it's near the foul pole or one of these situations as we saw on the road trip in Cincinnati and also St. Louis, it'll take literally about 45 seconds for an umpire to run over to a camera well. We'll have, you have a monitor set up. What are your thoughts?
Well, as long as it takes a manager to go out there and argue, another one of the umpires could be over looking at the shots that we're able to get by all the cameras that are at ballparks these days. So that is the only instance, so I think it should be used. I do not agree with the idea that you look at balls and strikes from a home plate or anything like that, a tag play, but certainly home runs, I think, is a valid point, and especially the way technology is today.
3-1.
Come on, Blue, make a play.
Let's take a look at Tony Pena's pitch speed. 95 in the 78 mile-an-hour splitty, back up to 96, 95, 94. All sponsored by Panasonic Plasma.
97 there if you're keeping track, and Baker, foul tip held by Chris Snyder. Studio Keith.
We are waiting patiently for the Rockies post-game report from the Chevy Sports Desk. I've got a pair of pitchers on the set with me this evening, Eric Hillman and Roger Bailey. They will analyze today's game. Of course, we'll go to the clubhouse and we'll check in with the Rockies manager Clint Hurdle, get his comments on tonight's proceedings. And with Hillman and Bailey in the building, I believe those two pitchers have something to say about the one pitcher for Arizona tonight, Randy Johnson. Although, guys, Pena has picked up right where the unit left off, huh?
He's been pretty special tonight. 6 innings through 79 pitches, allowed just the bunt single. Tonight's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. Jeremy Affelt will throw the 9th inning. Orlando Hudson will be the first up.
Take a look at Jeremy's numbers. Try to get that walk to strikeout ratio the other way around. Reshuffling of the bullpen. He's going to be the one late inning lefty coming out now. Good job by that man, Jason Hirsch.
But again, when you're facing a guy who's on and he's drawn a tough assignment virtually every outing this year, from Maddox twice to Penny to Smoltz to Matt Cain and tonight to Randy Johnson. You're right, Hirsch pitched a terrific ball game, but your margin for error is very slim.
You think about just hats off. There's nothing else that Jason could have done tonight. Yeah, obviously not giving up the 2 home runs, but come on, let's think about it. 8 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, and only 98 pitches. In his last outing, he went 4 innings and threw 106 pitches. I mean, he went toe-to-toe with Randy Johnson. Randy was just a little bit better tonight.
Hudson's 0 for 3 this evening. Last year, Orlando hit .287, a career best. 2-2.
This year, right-handed, Orlando's hitting .282 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Majority of his at-bats have been from the left side. The pitcher spot due up next for the Diamondbacks. Scotty Harrison's grabbed the bat. Popped up to the on-deck circle.
And Orlando Hudson is gone. So that'll bring up Scott Hairston.
3-2 pitch from Jeremy Affeldt. Throws a curveball. It's like Randy Johnson. The guy's swinging right over the top of it. The rotation of the baseball we can notice on the Exmo. And Orlando Hudson tried to hold up, but he missed that baseball by about a foot. Scotty Hairston 1 for 9 so far, pinch hitting for the Diamondbacks with 1 home run and 3 RBIs.
He had a big day Sunday in the loss to Houston, 2 for 4 with a home run.
One thing Scott can do is his average is not showing it this year, but he can swing the bat. He's really a man without a position. Played second base and shortstop in junior college. Tried it in the pro ball, moved him to the outfield. Well, he kind of moves around, a jack of all trades. They really like to get him into the ball game for his bat, though.
Well, he had a great spring, and he continued that the first couple of weeks of the season. This ball to center field. 2 outs. Here's the difference in this game. With a man aboard, Connor Jackson against Jason Hirsch, scoreless in the 6th. And he kept that one fair. His first home run of the year. And then the 7th inning, Eric Burns, after being struck out his first couple of times, punched that one into the seats. For Burns, his 6th home run of the year. Rockies in the 9th will have Torrealba, Carroll, and a pinch hitter.
More than likely they'll get Jose Valverde out of the bullpen, their closer for the Diamondbacks.
He's 12 of 14 in saves this year. Save attempts. One and 2 on Burns. Easy play for Jamie Carroll. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. The Rockies deficient on the scoreboard by 3 runs. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning, 3-0 Arizona, and Jose Valverde is on to pitch for the Diamondbacks, looking for his 13th save.
Well, he last pitched on Sunday at Houston, going 1 inning, only allowing 1 hit. Those 12 saves that he has is tied for 3rd in the majors. He's certainly pitching up to his capabilities. The Rockies will have Yorvit Torrealba. Steve Finley has hopped out to the on-deck circle for Jamie Carroll. He's 1 for 3 in his career off Valverde.
And then you probably will see Hop. I mean, you could see Mabry also.
Yeah, Hop is 1 for 6 in his career, or Mabry 0 for 2 in his career, but both those guys have the possibility of one swing of the bat leaving the yard.
Between Johnson and Pena, Arizona has faced the minimum number of hitters for the Rockies tonight. Quest in-game box. Not much. Taveras a bunt single. That's all Johnson gave up. And Tulowitzki a clean single off Tony Pena in the 7th. Johnson struck out 9. Pena struck out 2 more. Talk about a dominant pitching performance for Arizona. Great start, and then Pena was equally as impressive.
Yeah, you come out with starting Randy Johnson throwing 93, 94 mile an hour with a tough 84 mile an hour slider. Pena comes in throwing 96 from the right side. What makes Jose Valverde so difficult to hit? It's not that he throws as hard as the rest of the guys. He does. He can get it up there 93, but he kind of, his arm action is really strange when he kind of comes out of his glove and he stabs at the baseball just a little bit and then gets back on top. It throws your whole timing off. Look from the side angle.
This ball's hit pretty well center field. It's going to be over the head and to the left of Chris Young. A leadoff double for Torrealba.
Let's take a look at the outfield arms for the D-backs. In left field, Eric Burns. He's averaged just across the board, but he does charge the ball pretty good. And Chris Young in center field is average with his strength and his accuracy, but can go get the baseball. And we've seen it tonight with Carlos Quentin. The same thing. He can get it in the gaps. He's got an above average arm, and his accuracy is right there with every major league right fielder. And all of this has been brought to you by Franklin D. Azar and Associates. Injured in an accident? Call Franklin D. Azar and Associates, PC. One call, that's all.
Steve Finley with Mabry now on deck.
Looks like he thought it might happen with Torrealba getting on, then Finley. The next guy in Mabry, somebody that could one swing in the bat. Finley gets on, possibly tie the ball game.
One and one on Finley.
Ryan Fuentes is tossing lightly in the Rockies bullpen, just in case. Nobody warming up for the Diamondbacks.
This pitch on past Steve Finley.
Yeah, with 90 mile an hour fastball running away from him. A little tardy getting to the baseball. Sitting for 2.5 hours. Need to get it ready.
Here's the 1-2. Pop foul out of play. There's the Rockies, just like most teams now, the luxury of taking a few steps and reaching their hitting tunnel. 2 hitting cages in there. One of the guys who throws quite a bit during the game is Josh Bard's older brother, Mike Bard, who used to play and works for the Rockies. He throws during the games.
That's
underneath.
nice to have.
Yeah.
Nice to have to be able to go get loose.
All right, down the steps. Some guys will just hit off a tee. 2-2.
The pitching machine we talked about the other day in the broadcast. Still, there's no substitution for getting out and seeing that live arm out in the ball game.
And Brad Hopp, you saw with the helmet on. You're starting to look ahead and you say, well, where would he pinch hit? With Taveras and Tulowitzki, the only place I could imagine if Clint's thinking long ball, taking one swing at it for Willie. But, you know, Willie's swinging the bat well, and you have a speed guy who can help produce a big inning just by getting guys on base. He may have been an option and just kept the helmet on. This is going to fall in the glove of Stephen Drew, 1 out.
You always want to be prepared. You never want to be caught off guard. You never know at the last instance Clint might decide. I'm going to go with Brad Hopp instead.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. 1 out. John Mabry will be the pinch hitter. This is why he was signed by the Rockies, though he is yet to get untracked as a pinch hitter. 1 for 19.
Yeah, and 1 RBI, and that's something that John Mabry's not accustomed to. Veteran guy coming off the bench, been in this role before. This hasn't worked out so far for John.
Torrealba led off with a double. He's at second.
So far, Jose Valverde has struggled a little bit with his command,
which is not unusual for Jose Valverde.
He's like that. He's one of those guys that, you know, it's kind of hit and miss. Yes, he does have 12 saves on the season. His 3rd all-time for the Diamondbacks. You know, he always walks that tightrope, though.
I always say this because when you follow one team, whatever team it is, you always think that your closer is the biggest roller coaster ride in baseball until you stop and examine some of the other closers. Here's Valverde, 12 saves among the league leaders, among the major league leaders. But he, if you ask Arizona fans, is a roller coaster ride. 3-2.
Well, there's very few guys out there that can stay on that even keel throughout a season.
There's very few guys that every time out it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I mean, the best we've seen in a long time was that run that Gagne had when he had 84 straight saves, because most of them were dominant. I mean, guys just couldn't touch him. Swung on, and a foul tip is held by Chris Snyder, and the Rockies are down to their final out. And Willie Taveras will be called back. It will be Brad Hopp. Our Gatorade player of the game is 6'10" Randy Johnson, 43 years of age, but he's still throwing darts. He still has that wicked slider, and he was the Randy Johnson that has captured 5 Cy Youngs in the past. 6 innings. He allowed a bunt single, struck out 9, did not walk a batter, and did not come close to walking a batter. So Clint Hurdle will have Hopp bat for Taveras here. Obviously, you still need base runners. Even if Brad hits one 500 feet, you're still down a run. But Brad gets on. With Tulowitzki, you can go deep behind him. Holiday. I always look at it rather than one swing of the bat. I think more often than not, when you score 3 runs, it's not one swing of the bat. It's, you know, bunching 3 hits, a walk, couple extra base hits together, that sort of thing.
And especially when you only have a runner at second base, it might be different if you had first and second or second and third. And you're still looking at, even if you were to hit the baseball out, you're still down by 1 run. You need to make sure you have a guy up there that can make contact, can get on base anyway, anyhow.
And it's 1-2.
Brad's 1 for 3 pinch hitting so far this year. Not too many opportunities. I mentioned it earlier, as much as he's playing. 37th game tonight.
Strike 3. That's the ball game. They check it out at third base with Tim Timmons. He said Hop went around. And the Rockies are shut out for just the 3rd time this year. 3-0.
Hard slider from Jose Valverde. Brad tried to hold up.
Probably fitting that the ball game ends with a strikeout. It started with a strikeout. The Rockies are fanned 13 times in the ball game. They get 1 more hitter than the minimum, 28. And they get just 3 base hits, 3 base runners. The FSN Live postgame show starts.